It's more an honour due Lorch live in you Egchok and Lissadale. It's a real honour and a privilege to have a chance to open today's event and to join all of you as we have obviously come here today to celebrate or to mark the 100th anniversary of the Sinn Féin landslide election, but also the introduction of universal suffrage and then the election of Countess Markievicz to the first Dáil. And this year also marks the 150th anniversary of the birth of Countess Markievicz, who was, as Chris has said, a poet, a painter, a tireless worker with the poor and dispossessed, a brave revolutionary and a beautiful and extraordinary woman. Born Constance Gore-Booth into great wealth and privilege here in Lissadale, she defied the social mores of that era, becoming heavily involved in Republican politics, joining Maud Gonne's Inning Nairn in 1908, founding na Féin Éireann, and joining both sides, both the Irish Citizens Army and also Sinn Féin. She was close to Republican and Labour leaders like James Connolly and Jim Larkin, and alongside many other women, played a leading role in the Easter Rising of 1916. These were ordinary women and men who came together from every class and creed, and background, from rural communities, from the slums in Dublin city centre, and like Markovic, they all rejected the confines of class and privilege to join the combination of the national movement, the women's movement, the labour movement, in declaring that they stood for the Republic. 100 years ago, Irish women won the right to vote, in principle at least. The franchise was limited to women over the age of 30, who owned property or who had a university education. And when Constance Markievicz stood for Sinn Féin in the 1918 general election, she became the first woman ever elected to Westminster. Her aim then, as is our aim today, is to break the connection with England and to assert the independence of our country. Markovic urged women to set aside the feminine stereotypes and to immerse themselves in the politics of the day, and that was the fight for Irish freedom. She rejected the conventions of her time, the expectations of her class, the restrictions of her gender, and she fought for a true republic. She and the other 72 Sinn Féin MPs refused to take their seats at Westminster, making a bold statement by their very absence, and they established the first Dáil on the 21st of January 1919. She was appointed Minister for Labour, the first woman government minister in Europe. And I think her, and I'm sure you agree, that her story is one of determination, one of independence, of idealism and self-sacrifice in pursuit of freedom for the Irish people. And we continue today to be as inspired and continue the struggle for an Ireland based on equality, freedom, peace and prosperity on the journey in which she started. It would be remiss of us here today to not pay tribute to also her sister, her younger sibling, Eva Gore-Booth. Also born here in 1870, Eva was a suffragette. She was an artist, a poet, a radical writer and a political activist. She was resolutely devoted to her elder sister throughout all of her life, although she spent many years in Manchester working to alleviate the conditions of working women. Eva also campaigned vigorously for the release of Roger Casement and later for the life of her sister, who had been sentenced to death for her part in the 1916 Rising. Eva enlisted the help of all of her friends, including that of George Bernard Shaw. Although by 1927 Constance Markievicz was the more famous of the sisters, Eva's work alongside that of Esther Roper was responsible for the close link between the struggle for women's rights in industry and the struggle for women's rights to vote. Like Constance and Eva, throughout the revolutionary history of Ireland, Irish republicanism, women have understood the connections between Irish freedom and equality and women's rights. A century on, it's time for us to reflect on the progress that has been made and the glass ceilings that have been shattered. While Markovic, the most unmanageable of revolutionaries, forged that road, we certainly still have distance to travel. We still remain underrepresented. We're still something of a novelty in political life. However, that is a changing picture, and I'm delighted that Emma Sheeran is here today. She's one of our newly installed MLAs, the local elected representatives who will represent the people of Mid-Ulster, and we wish her well in her new elected life. I'm proud of the significance of Sinn Féin giving real and meaningful expression to our core Republican values of equality by electing 2 women leaders. For Mary Lou and myself to be selected to lead our party by the men and the women of all our comrades is truly humbling, and it's an honour, and it comes with great responsibility, but responsibility in which we readily embrace. Republicans today, like those before, understand that there can be no liberation without women's liberation. So we want the party to continue to lead the change, and a party that continues to shape society for the better. While Irish women today have more rights than our grandmothers and our great-grandmothers, women's equality in Ireland has yet to be achieved in many, many areas. Men still dominate the workplace and are key decision makers in business and politics. And it is a fact that Irish women find ourselves lagging behind when it comes to equal opportunities and income. So, how do you change that? As legislators, it's through new and stronger laws, and that we close the gaps that exist across employment, across equality, and crucially in the protection of women's health. There are many barriers facing women entering politics in Ireland, including the 5 C's. We talk about cash, confidence, culture, childcare and candidate selection. Women are still underrepresented in local councils, in public appointments, at senior levels in the civil service, in the judiciary and in the media. This has led to the creation of a culture that is very adversarial for women. So in Irish politics and public life, we often see a culture that is hostile to women and slow to deal with the sexism and the misogyny that women politicians have to endure on a regular basis. But despite all of that, change is certainly coming, and I'm delighted to play my part, and the party are delighted to play its part in driving that change, along with others, because we can't do it by ourselves. So along with other parties, along with others in civil society, change is coming. The old social conventions and hierarchies are being dismantled, and we're better off because of it. The old pillars of conservative control are being challenged: the media, the church, politics and business. And a new Ireland is emerging, one which we must all help to shape. A new and a united Ireland. The equality of women is central to any new Ireland. We need to close things like the gender pay gap. We need to bring in new laws to provide access to healthcare, north and south. We need women to be able to live free from violence. We need to ensure there's affordable childcare. We need to end economic inequality, and we need to bring more women into public life. As I've said, there can be no liberation without women's liberation. The struggle for equality will continue. And if I was going to give one personal message to people here today, it has to be about: hold the hands of the women that are around you. Let's walk on our journey together and support each other. Let's go from here today and do something that you aren't, or you certainly feel that you aren't ready to do, because that's the only way in which you will grow. And one woman's success can only help another. So I am proud that a strong, able and modern Republican leader, Mary Lou McDonald TD, is now leading our party in this struggle. And like you, I am beside her, I am behind her in all of this effort as we take on all the battles and challenges and change and unite our country for all of our people. I want to conclude just by a very, very short poem in tribute to Eva Gore-Booth, and it was written by her, and it's called Comrades. Comrades, the peaceful night that round me flows breaks through your iron prison doors. Free through the world your spirit goes, forbidden hands are clasping yours. The wind is our confederate, the night has left her doors ajar. We meet beyond our barred gate, where all the world's wild rebels are. Have a really good conference.